Taylor Swift, fuck the patriarchy. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Global megastar Taylor Swift continues with her Eras tour. And this means that she figures prominently in the media and broadcast news. It also provides the ongoing opportunity to help you understand more about the way that a greater narcissist, which is what Taylor Swift is, conducts herself and responds to certain provocations. Breitbart has reported, as per a report from Simon Kent, billionaire Taylor Swift called out as phony after leading crowd in Fuck the Patriarchy lyric chant. Billionaire Taylor Swift has been going viral for months as social media videos show the pop sensation leading sold-out crowds at her Eras tour singing the Fuck the Patriarchy lyric from her song All Too Well. Now, those social media videos demonstrating that allow the reach of the greater to be extended, and of course the responses to them from tertiary sources will provide small amounts of fuel to Taylor Swift should she see the reaction to them. However, the article explains Swift is being called out by critics as a phony. The controversy re-emerged Sunday night at Wembley Stadium in London, with some in the crowd left wondering how she could be so quick to degrade men and a patriarchy that has helped her prosper on a global scale and see her fly by private jet from gig to gig, even as she claimed to speak out against critics and their own indulgences. The song, All Too Well, which features on her fourth studio album, Red, contains this lyric. You taught me about your past, thinking your future was me, and you were tossing me the car keys, fuck the patriarchy keychain, on the ground. The Daily Mail reports while the track is a popular fixture in her live sets, the 34-year-old drew a mixed response after encouraging 88,000 predominantly female fans at Wembley to scream its final line in a defiant act of apparent rebellion. Taking to X, one less than impressed onlooker of their dismay, after noting it was probably men who built the set to enable her social critique. Well, pausing there, the fact that Taylor Swift encourages the predominantly female fans to scream "fuck the patriarchy" is demonstrative of her power in that moment as she asserts control over her audience. It doesn't take much for her to assert that control. They are willing acolytes worshipping at the altar of Swift, such as the power of that particular greater, to draw them to her. The power that she exhibits, of course, is initially to generate sufficient fans to sell out venues all around the world. And irrespective of what you might think about her songs, the fact that millions of people around the globe do want to go and see her demonstrates that there is some talent there. Whether it's talent in songwriting, music, singing, or marketing, well, you can take your pick. But in order to be able to draw those crowds and make the money that she has, there's evidently talent on display. When those people attend the concerts, they're under control because they've paid money to come along. They are there to enjoy themselves, watching. They are on her side. They're devout followers, and we know that the Swifties can be particularly vociferous in their support of Taylor Swift. Thus, it's easy for her to assert control during the concert. But the fact is that where she gets 88,000 individuals screaming that final line, that provides her with a massive amount of fuel. It's proximate. All those people are in front of her. It's not down a telephone line. It's not on a Zoom call. It's live and in your face. 88,000 individuals. They're tertiary sources because she doesn't know them personally. But the fact is, 88,000 drops of fuel that is proximate in nature, which means it's the largest that can be provided, times 88,000 amounts to a massive fuel dump in that moment, which would make her feel powerful. Whether they were chanting her name, whether she was getting them to chant "fuck the patriarchy," whether that's hypocritical is irrelevant to Taylor Swift. She probably does recognise that it's hypocritical, given that she's aware, but the fact is, lacking any moral conscience, lacking any sense of remorse or guilt, she simply does not care. Needs must. And where she deems that it's appropriate to continue the control of her audience and draw fuel from them by causing them to engage by yelling "fuck the patriarchy," she deems it's appropriate to do so, and she simply doesn't give a fig about the evident hypocrisy of which she's been accused. One person on Twitter, Rachel Wilson, wrote, "Taylor Swift's career would not be possible without all of the men who build those giant sets, drive them in semi-trucks, cross-country for her tours, light and sound engineers, etc. The world that makes her success possible was invented, built, and is maintained by men." A fair comment. But Taylor Swift doesn't give a fig. She has enough awareness to recognise that that is the case. But nevertheless, the fact is, Taylor Swift would deal with that threat to control of somebody saying, "Well, actually, you're being a hypocrite," by simply dismissing it. She wouldn't feel the need to argue it. Why? Because she would simply reflect on the fact that she is a billionaire who is massively successful, who has legions of fans around the world. And the fact that somebody says, "Excuse me, Miss Swift, you're being a hypocrite for saying fuck the patriarchy," Taylor Swift would simply smile and point to all of those acolytes as if to say, "Do I care?" She wouldn't need to argue it. She wouldn't even deny it. She would probably say, "Yes, you're right, but look, who's winning? I am." And therefore, in the circumstances, as an aware narcissist, she will recognise the hypocrisy in what she states, but she simply doesn't care, because she's so successful. She's able to point to her success as the overriding factor. Another queried how somebody who had financially benefited from the backing of both sexes could be so bold. Mary Morgan wrote, "Taylor Swift got her audience of 88,000 fans to scream "fuck the patriarchy" at her concert yesterday. Lady, you are a billionaire. Get your head checked." Again, in response to that, she would simply laugh and find the protestations of these individuals, who are meaningless to her, to be like simple small beetles scuttling around at the feet of the edifice that is Taylor Swift. TJ Moe wrote, "Taylor Swift sings F the patriarchy and gets a bunch of impressionable young women to sing along with her, demonstrating she's a complete imbecile, knows nothing about how functioning societies are built, and shouldn't be influencing your children." Challenge fuel again issued by that individual, and quite likely correct in what he's written. But again, it is going to be like a frozen pea fired through a pea shooter, bouncing off the colossus that is Taylor Swift. Paul A. Zippula writes, "Taylor Swift is worth over $1 billion, yet criticises the system that allowed this success." Indeed, and that's because she can. He calls her a hypocrite. And she would probably admit, "Yes, I am, but what does it matter? Because I'm the one that's worth $1 billion and you're not." The fact is, she can simply point to her success, the number of records sold, the money in her bank account, the popularity that she enjoys, and recognise, "I'm a hypocrite, but so what? I'm a successful one." It doesn't matter to her about these complaints. They simply bounce off her, because she is able, as a greater, to point to her substantial and continuing success, that it almost forms a barrier against the attempts to threaten her need for control. because some people on social media have issued these criticisms, they are threats to control, but they are so minor in nature that she can just brush them off. She doesn't need to argue with the individual. As I pointed out, as an aware narcissist, you could actually say, yes, I'm a hypocrite, and I don't hear you getting 80,000 people all yelling something. I can, so shut up. This is the power of the greater. Popularity, financial reach, financial firepower, global dominance allows the greater to point to those things in order to shut up those critics. That the greater need not argue, but can simply dismiss them, rejecting them, and continuing to yell whatever they want as their devout acolytes continue to follow them wherever they go, because such is the power of the greater. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.